What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from AnimeUproar, and I'm back at it again to discuss the latest and craziest updates in the One Piece story. Today we got some insane moments, both good and very tragic as well, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you do enjoy seeing One Piece reviews on the channel and want to keep them coming, then the best thing you can do is smash that like button and share this video with your nakama. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial. Ring that notification bell and select all, or you will miss future One Piece videos. Make this the day you subscribe if you haven't already. And while you wait for the next chapter to drop, feel free to check out my growing One Piece playlist, where I got videos about the Supernova, the Warlords, the Yonko, and much more. Link in the description. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. We start this chapter with the contrasting fire festival happening in the Flower Capital. While the war and fight we've been following for so many chapters continues to rage on, here people are celebrating the fire festival, which only happens once a year. This is a very interesting segment in my opinion. We are told that this is the only prosperous place in the whole of Wano, and that behind the smiles lie feelings of oppression and fear that they've lived with up to now. We are told that they are alive only because of their belief that someday the samurai of the Kozuki family will help save their homeland. This is a very powerful moment, showing the potential importance of hope in life. The one thing keeping them going despite the horrible conditions of living under Orochi and Kaido all these decades is that they might be saved from them someday. And Oden is this symbol for them. That is how important a symbol or the example set by a great human can be. It could literally mean the difference between life and death for people. As the narrator says, everyone was using the legend of Oden and his samurai as a way of supporting their hearts, even though they thought it was probably not gonna happen. But we, as the readers, got special info, and we know this exact battle that they were hoping for is raging, with the 9 red scabbards, Luffy, and the rest. But for the people of Wano, the idea is still some implausible dream, nonetheless an important one though. People wonder about how nice it would be if today never ended, since the festival is special, and as one mentions, it's the only time of year that they can drink alcohol, and some straight up break into tears, wishing that Kaido didn't have Orochi's back. Although as far as we, the readers, know up to this point, Orochi is dead unless his devil fruit powers somehow let him survive getting his head cut off. But moments like this in anime and manga help us appreciate what we have in our own lives. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you aren't limited to celebrating or, if you're old enough, drinking alcohol once a year. And you probably aren't starving as much of the people of Wano are. As a result, these kinds of moments also remind us to be thankful in our real lives for what we do have, even as we continue to hope that Luffy beats Kaido and in so doing, ends Wano's suffering. Then we have quite the coincidence. One drunk dude suggests, what if the battle with the Kozuki family is happening right now at this very moment, and they gathered samurai from all over the world to fight by their side? Obviously, he didn't mention pirates, but this is pretty much what's happening right now. Another mentions how Orochi might have been cut down and Kaido may be next, and Onigashima is in a frenzy, and that's exactly what appears to be happening too. Last time we saw Kaido, the scabbard seemed to reopen his Oden wound, and he definitely seemed to be on the defensive. Furthermore, Onigashima is definitely in a frenzy with multiple fights going on at the same time. But these guys don't actually know that to be the case, so one drunk Oden lookalike mentions enthusiastically to keep the stories coming because today they can dream as much as they want, not knowing that their dream is pretty much a reality on Onigashima right now. People are so grateful because for today at least, they can have great tasting water, some clean air, and that no one will get killed. And even though many people would expect that to just happen every day, for these people those criteria aren't met every day, and they're not even complaining about that. Rather, they're celebrating because they get one day with these pretty basic human conditions being met. It makes you appreciate these characters and also look at your own life and at how you may be taking many things for granted. Anyways, these people continue to celebrate their small victory of having the fire festival despite how difficult their lives can be. We then return to Onigashima. People are running and we see an ice demon to Zoro's shock. Drake lets us know that it's the plague, and thus All-Star Queen is behind it. Like a virus, it spreads from person to person, turning the infected person into a kind of ice demon. Queen wants to close the doors to the towers and have everyone on this floor succumb to this plague, including his own guys. Pretty beastly behavior right there, but not too surprising. It makes sense that Queen, the plague, would have access to something like this. We then catch up to Luffy and Sanji. Sanji is trying to keep Luffy from getting involved in fights so that he can conserve his energy for Kaido. It's pretty hilarious watching them argue about how it will take Sanji 10 seconds to clear the opponents, while it will take only 3 seconds if Luffy helps him, and then as they argue, Jinbei takes out the headliner Briscola, a Gorilla Smile user, with one punch clearing the way. Jinbei then says he'll clear the rest of the way too, and both Sanji and Luffy should conserve their strength. I also love how excited Luffy gets when he sees Jinbei, screaming out his name like we probably did in our minds when we saw him. Sanji gets all upset since he's the one that wants to escort Luffy, which is interesting because Jinbei is sort of disrupting Sanji's place in the crew as a member of the Monster Trio. The Monster Trio used to be Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, the 3 strongest of the crew, but Jinbei coming in arguably messes with Sanji's position, so this is a kind of meta moment we see in this interaction. Still though, it's more comedic and nothing too serious, and they're gonna work together and try to accomplish the impossible, to keep Luffy from jumping into fights. And the whole thing is pretty hilarious because if they let their guard down for 1 second, even to talk or argue, Luffy will just get caught in a fight again. And of course, Jinbei, the former warlord, is as cool as ever, comfortable in his position and strength, and not needing to prove anything. Then we jump to Shinobu, Momonosuke, and Yamato. Bao Huang lets King know where they are. King is dark and strategic, suggesting to everyone that they kill Momonosuke, since then the rebellion for the revival of the Kozuki family would fall apart, since the samurai would no longer have a horse in the race to fight for. It would devastate morale, and King knows this. Kill the symbol and you'll probably kill their hope, and at that point, the majority of the samurai will quite possibly give up. King even says to bring him Momonosuke's head. It's almost scary how calm and Machiavellian he is about this whole thing. Although he's not a good guy, you gotta respect King as a good antagonist. Sasaki is the one who finds Momo first and has his men fire at them. Again, why didn't Denjiro kill this dude when he had the chance? Now that decision is already coming back to haunt them. Poor Shinobu uses herself as a shield, protecting Momo. It's enough to bring one to tears, and just as it looks like it's all over and Shinobu and Momo are about to be killed, Yamato comes to the rescue. And this is the turn we needed. Now Momo will no longer fear Yamato as an enemy since she just saved his life and Shinobu. And by the way, props to the manly Momo, who didn't run when Shinobu told him to, saying a shogun wouldn't run away. Sasaki is amused to see Yamato, but Yamato is determined, saying in the name of the Kozuki family she's participating in this war. Epic moment for all 3 of them, Shinobu, Momo, and Yamato. And then we jump back to the insane cliffhanger we got last chapter, Kaido on the ground, his Oden wound bleeding, and Red Scabbards standing over his seemingly inanimate body. Obviously the Red Scabbards are too smart to think this is already over. They know they gotta finish him off quick. Until his head is off his body, it ain't over. But of course, before they can finish him off once and for all, Kaido comes too. And he's not begging for life or anything. He just comments on the tenacity of the Red Scabbards. Kaido says for a moment he felt like he saw Kozuki Oden, and he even says that he wouldn't have mind if they killed him because, as we know, he tried to take his own life plenty of times. And we get important info here. He says that when his wound aches, he's reminded of it. And we get a flashback to when he only beat Oden because Kurozumi Higurashi used her clone fruit to trick Oden into thinking that Momo was taken hostage. Kaido then took advantage of the distraction to defeat him. I've been emphasizing this for a while, and how Kaido probably felt guilty about winning in this way. After all, he even had Kurozumi Higurashi killed for it. But he was still a coward. He didn't release Oden and give him a fair fight afterwards. No, he proceeded to execute him. And that lack of integrity and that cowardice, especially in contrast to Oden's honor and courage, haunts Kaido to this day. For him, Oden and the wound Oden gave him are symbols of his own shortcomings. So it makes sense that Oden's memory would make him unstable and more prone to injury. However, Kaido mentions that despite all of this, these guys, meaning the Red Scabbards, are not Oden, and that there will never be a samurai as monstrous as Oden again. I have to admit, the first thing I thought of when I read this was Zoro. He definitely has a samurai thing going on, and I believe he will be the strongest swordsman ever by the end of the series. So yeah, perhaps Zoro really will have a role to play against Kaido, who appears to be more affected by sword wounds than anything else. However, for now, Kaido just says that the cuts of the red scabbards are too shallow, and with only this level of strength, they won't even be able to open up his old wound properly. He calls them too weak and launches wind slashes from his mouth. Such a simple move for him, and by launching this move, he sends the red scabbards in an uproar. The twist has finally happened, and at the very least, Kiku has been devastatingly wounded. It appears that an entire arm is off, at least, and the slashes are so strong that they cut Kiku's sword like it was nothing. Kiku's eyes are white, as if it might really be the end. And this shocks the red scabbards, as it may shock us. Even though I've been saying that the turnaround would happen, it was only a matter of time. Obviously, you can't just wipe out a Yonko without any casualties, and I did think we'd get one or even more red scabbard deaths because they came ready for it, and attempting to take down the strongest creature in the world will definitely lead to sacrifices. Let me know if you think Kiku is gonna survive, or if this is the end. Let me also know what you thought of this chapter and what you expect to happen in the next one. Kaido definitely turned the tone around by 180 degrees. He flexed on them by saying he wishes they could defeat him, but they're just too weak. And with that, we have entered the difficult portion of this fight. Up to now, I was mentioning it felt like we were cruising through it and things seemed to be going too well. Well, now the reality of the situation has begun to catch up with everybody, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is just the beginning of a much more brutal counterattack from Kaido. And although we don't want to see our guys hurt, this is a Yonko we're talking about, and we've yet to see him fight here in his humanoid and possibly hybrid form, which are arguably much stronger. So we gotta be expecting tragic moments to come. We can't expect that to be avoided at this point. But that is it for this chapter. If you did enjoy this review and want to keep the One Piece reviews coming on this channel, the best thing you can do is smash that like button and share this video with your nakama. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial. Hit that notification bell and select all, or you will miss future One Piece videos. Make this the day you subscribe if you haven't already, and while you wait for the next chapter to drop, feel free to check out our growing One Piece playlist, where I got videos about the Supernova, the Warlords, the Yonko, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And I especially want to thank the patron squad over on Patreon and here on YouTube who help make videos like this one possible. First and foremost, I want to thank the patrons of legend, the ones acknowledged by Lord Twigo himself, Alpha Sigma, and Liam Thompson. And are the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans, Ingrata, the world, Acquire Respect, Pate Hefa, Jonathan King, Rathuan De Aura, Red Haired Raven, Emperor Otaku, Thomas Jones, Kinmano, Admirath, and Christopher Torley. And our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, who's the current most donated overall champion of the world, Nothing But a Fan, Steelers, Anatoly Kazatsky, Cricket XP, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Jessica Califon, Alicia Actor, Hinokami and Water, Bonnie Parks, Florian, Joanne Garcia, Mick Seamus, Deadly Saint, and High School DxD 73. Thank you all so much. If you do enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these amazing people right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord where we talk about anime life and of course dank memes. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. You can also join the YouTube channel by clicking that blue join button next to the subscribe button that you've hopefully already destroyed. So yeah, you can support more content that way if you prefer. Whichever way you choose to support us, you can get the same great benefits. Thanks again, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!